let's kick off. We'll start. So, who's the brave one among you that wants to ask a question? This could be the shortest interview ever.
Okay, I'll start. First, the last 4 books.
Yes.
We have the official timeline, we have titles for the first book, there is rumor about the second title, and now I want some answers about rumors like, are we going to play Lone Wolf again in the last book? Is he going to die? Will Grey Star be in it? You know,
just some simple questions.
Yeah, some simple rumors.
Okay.
You got 1 hour. So
yeah, 1 hour. Okay.
About
last 4 books.
So everything concerning the last 4 books.
I've written 29 and 30. Okay, I'm working on 31. The reason for the delay is we had a simple problem of when do we release the last 4 books when the collector series is being released at the same time. It's quite tricky. So the decision really was to hold off on the release of 29 until we've got 20 finished, published rather. And that is close. 18, these are the UK releases which come out first. 18 is due out in about 2 weeks' time. That's ready to go. 19 will be close on its heels at the end of October. And then 20 will probably be around January. So you'll see the release of 29 in February of next year, first release, even though it's been completed now for over a year. And I finished off book 30. The rumours you heard were ones that I started. Dead in the Deep is the title. Okay, and that was, I think it's put on Wikipedia.
Exactly.
Exactly. That was the sort of secret source, and
okay,
I wanted to see who was. I was curious as to see, who would be Sherlock Holmes enough to work out where the IP of the computer was. And it was my computer. I put it on there. But Dead in the Deep is confirmed.
Okay.
Okay. The last 2 books will be larger than the others. They will be similar to the expanded version of book 1. 500 to 550 pages each. Okay. And the last 2 are quite closely linked as well. They follow on chronologically without a gap. Okay. Do you play Lone Wolf in the last book? I can't reveal that, really. I really can't. I mean, I'd be tempted to, but I can't tell. I really can't tell you. That it would spoil it because it's quite complex, the formation of the last book, and there's a lot going on. But you're going to be playing New Mordecai up until book 31, and then book 32 is slightly different approach. Okay. So you may be, you may be not. You may have a choice. You may not. We'll see. It's going to be very, very different and quite a apocalyptic ending. But I can say Lone Wolf doesn't die at the end of the series. He may get a serious promotion to something a little bit more divine, but he doesn't get killed as in the mortal sense. So the titles, Storms of Chai, definitely. Dead in the Deep, book 30. The other 2 I haven't decided on just yet. Okay. So that's where we are with the 4 books. So releases are going to be 3. They're going to be 29, 30, 31 next year, and then the apocalyptic ending in 2014, which ties in nicely because the first Lone Wolf book was out in 1984 in the UK, so 30 years on. If my maths doesn't fail me, I'm sure it's 30 years on, and that ties it up quite nicely.
Status of video game and movie. Any news on that?
Yeah, big change on the game front. As you know, it was announced last year at Luca, and we had a trailer for the game, and the plan at that stage was to produce for console and PC. But it's been an interesting year. This past year has changed the game plan completely, and that's the emergence of the iPad and the tablet format gaming opportunities there. Also, the incredibly increased cost of producing for PC and console. So what we've done is a radical change. We're not going to be producing a PC console game. We're going to be producing 3 tablet games. So whereas we lose 1 game and gain 3 there, specifically for that platform, those platforms. So it's Android and an iPad. We'll see the first releases again. I mean, I use typically use Luca, the comic and game show in Italy, as a launch pad for new information and for a new product. So we'll see a big presentation of the new 3 format games then. They are, chronologically, they sit somewhere between book 3 or 5. Casting a glance over at my able French researcher over there. So it is kind of between 3 and 5, isn't it?
Between 5, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Between 3 and 4, you have
3 and 4 specifically.
You have 3 years, and 4
exactly
and 5, you have 9 months.
And I'm calling them sort of Lone Wolf the Untold Adventures. So they sit in the existing chronology, in the existing world. And it's Lone Wolf at a very good time from a gaming point of view, age-wise, threat-wise, having, there's a big shadow of revenge hanging over him now that he's destroyed a Mage Darklord. And there's kind of, I've always wanted to tell the story of his recovery as well, and the recovery of the country after the invasion. So it covers a lot of bases there, and we'll be fitting all 3 games into that time frame. So we're looking at around about the year 50-54, something like that, isn't it? As the target year. That these will be set in, and the 3 games will occur within 9 months, so it's 3 months for each game. Okay.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
I have to buy an iPad. Man.
You and me both. I've got to buy one to test these things. But excuse me, it's reached critical mass. Everybody's buying iPads now, and except for this,
almost everybody.
except for this renegade we have here that refuses to buy. Yeah, we're showing our.
Very proud of this.
Yeah, we're showing our old school credentials.
Classic one.
Yeah, old school credentials.
You got keys?
I've got pen and paper. It's really old school. But when you look at the figures, how many they're selling and what's out there, and the opportunity to produce something good and something new for it, couldn't be resisted. So it changed the game plan completely, and now we're producing, like I say, 3 games for it. Production company is Reply Forge, based in Milan. The parent company that owns the rights now for that format is Atlantica Lab, which is a very large media company in Italy as well. Film-wise, this is a typical story. I said it at Cologne year before last.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, and I said, this is what typically happens. I hope it comes to fruition, and it did. Of course, it didn't come to fruition. It's the old story, and this is typical. I get an approach from an American film company. We love Lone Wolf. We want to buy the film rights to it. Okay, so they have an option for 18 months to do something with it. They throw lots of money at me. I say, thank you very much. Yeah. Now get on and make the thing. And they don't make it. For whatever reason, they don't have enough time, they don't persuade the right people, and it expires. And then along comes another company, and the same process begins again.
That's a good thing.
Okay. Well, it is, but it's hugely frustrating for everybody else, and for me, because it never ever makes the screen. Okay, I mean, I think it's only the English tax office that are really happy about it. They're the ones that seem to benefit the most. It's very frustrating. And now I'm going through the process again. I've just had there's 2, yet again, American film companies that are looking to buy the rights. But this time it's being managed by Atlantica, so we may see more result this time. But this is the 5th time it's happened to me, so I'm definitely not promising anything. Okay, it's a strange sort of carousel I get involved with every now and again. But yeah, it would be fantastic to tell the story on the big screen, and there's so much story to tell, and I don't know. Seeing how well Game of Thrones has done, for instance, I think we could do a little bit better. Frankly, it's kind of a fantasy space or soap opera, and I love the story for the story's sake, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. That's what bothers me a little bit about it, and there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of originality in the creatures, if any. So it just makes me. Wow. So give me a chance, and I'll show you how to do it.
Jon Snow will be, Lone Wolf character apparently.
Really?
Hopefully not.
I'll have some say in the casting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be nice to actually, be able to launch somebody's career from scratch, so we find the right character, the right guy to play it.
Who's this guy? Oh, he
Well,
can't see himself.
no, it's whoever fits that bill.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd rather that than an established actor that brings other baggage with them. I'd rather give a new guy a chance.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then it would be very distinctively separate from anything else. And then we've got to go through the process of auditioning Vortex, Hellgast, and GX.
We'll be there to select some.
Yeah, generally, I think they kind of patronise the author. In this, They say, "Do come along and make your choice." We've already made our mind up, but you can have your say anyway. But if I kind of, what I would attempt to do is get a veto in the contract, so I have some sort of power there.
Absolutely.
And just point out to them, the other British fantasy authors that have done this, have done it very successfully. And when J.K. Rowling really put a foot down and said, you're going to do it my way, it's not going to be an Americanization. And they can hardly complain now, can they, with the billions that it's generated. It was most definitely the right decision. So it's got to stay true to the original vision for it to work. And we don't want some sort of, plastic Hollywood.
Neither do we.
No, absolutely not.
Sorry, I distracted Joe. I was curious.
We don't get to meet very often. It's usually all by email. So.
If by any chance, and I hope not, they miss the opportunity again to make a movie, how about trying to do a different thing? Let's, for example, crowdsource the whole thing. I know two freaking awesome Tolkien movies, Born of Hope and another one, all community products, high quality, and I think, well, there are a lot of fans out there of the Lone Wolf series, but not half as much as for Tolkien, for example. It's easy to bring Tolkien to the movies and have a blockbuster and earn billions of dollars and buy New Zealand.
Save New Zealand.
I think it should be a bit more difficult for Lone Wolf, so I think the crowdsourcing way would be a better idea if you find the right team.
I've heard a bit about this. I don't know it in detail. It sounds fascinating.
Works. It can work. Not even
there's no guarantees.
All the time, but we had some pretty good movies in the last years.
Right.
Made and produced by awesome people with lots of experience in the business, and they did good work.
Okay.
So if you want to see the movie and not to see your bank account,
of course, yeah.
So it should be might be the right way.
Okay.
Because we can wait for years for another Lone Wolf.
Absolutely. And I've waited long enough. It's coming up to 30 years now, and that's long enough. And I'd like to see it before I, go pass on to the next realm.
Yeah.
So. I will follow this up, actually. It sounds fascinating, as another alternative way of reaching the public. Personally, you've got to see my schedule to believe it, and it's really 7 days a week solid for the next few years. And obviously, I'm going to see what they propose, because we have a Skype conference on Wednesday with the Americans, so we'll see what they've got in mind. They're going to make their offers then. I need some, I want some firm commitment. It's all well and good then buying the option, but very little is done with it after that. It's kind of 18 months wasted time until it comes around again. But I think I'll do a little bit of homework in the meantime and see how this community sourcing, as it were, could work. Thanks for the heads up on that.
Give it a platform and see what happens.
Yeah. There's still, the curious thing about Lone Wolf is that the generation that grew up with it in the 80s when it first appeared have now attained a level of power within their own industries. So they're typically 35 to 40 and above average intelligence, and I like to think I had something to do with that. I've encouraged it. But they're in the decision-making positions now, and they're coming back to Lone Wolf. They're coming back to what influenced them in their teenage years. And so most of the approaches I get these days, typically, for instance, Amazon, the guys that make the decisions at Amazon were all die-hard Lone Wolf fans, and they came to me with the proposal. I didn't need to sell it to them at all. And that's typical of what's happening at the moment. The guys are very familiar with the stories. They grew up with them, and it's something that they've really wanted to champion, which is a very curious position to be in. Not having to sell it to the film companies, but them coming to you and saying, we love it, we want to produce it. So I wish they would complete on it, that's all.
I in any case, not only about talking about the movie, I think in any case it would be a good idea to give a solid platform for all the Downloads fans out there. There used to be a freaking good platform, Tower of the Sun, for the forum, and they did awesome work,
Indeed.
looking at all the books. And
They had a server types though, didn't they?
2 years ago, now you have a server-rate forum, and I think they, whatever, we deserve another place on the web where we can share ideas and things like that. So if there's anybody in the web design business, give me your business card. We can build something, okay? It doesn't cost that much, you just have to start.
Yes, indeed.
And then we'll see what happens.
The forums that I see at the moment are Project Teil, which has been going forever. And then there's the Lone Wolf Forum on Mongoose website as well, which is it's really obviously oriented towards the books and their releases. But that's the two places I see things are being discussed in detail. But yeah, I missed Tower of the Sun. It was great when it was up and running. But as I understand it, had a complete server collapse and no backup. They lost everything.
Yes.
Which is just a total nightmare, really.
Yeah.
Just disappeared completely.